שלום חברים, אנחנו נמצאות כאן על דרך האבות בגוש עציון בין חברון לבין ירושלים. על הדרך בעלו אבותינו לרגל 3 פעמים בשנה. הנה אנו רואים מקווה מימי בית שני, אבן מיל מתקופת הרומאים, שמוכיחה שגם הרומאים המשיכו לצעוד על דרך האבות. לפנינו אלון שבות, אלעזר, מאחוריי אפרת, לפניי ראש צורים, ובאמצע אתם רואים שטח ירוק פסטורלי של כמה מאות דונמים חשובים ביותר. אתם רואים שחלק גדול מהשטח מעובד ויש בו עצי זית וכפנים על אדמות המדינה שלנו. השטח הזה הנקרא נצר מאוד קריטי. 1. ליצירת רצף יהודי בין היישובים, 2. כעתודת קרקע להגדלת היישובים.
After the destruction of Gush Katif in 2005, we began to see the area filling up with plots of lands cultivated by Arabs with signs from anti-Israeli organizations in Europe and the United States, such as USAID and Oxfam, proclaiming their assistance to the Arabs with millions of dollars of funding to enable the Arabs to take over Israeli state lands. We immediately understood that there was an organized strategic plan of the Palestinian Authority to strangle Jewish settlement, to plant trees up to the gates of the Jewish communities in order to prevent them from expanding and to prevent continuity of Jewish settlement. We arrived and began to plant olive trees and grapevines to ensure that the area would remain in Jewish hands. We brought people, tractors and saplings and we planted on those lands. We presented a letter to the head of the regional council that we are planting on behalf of the people of Israel and that we have no ownership claim. And often there were struggles on the ground between us and the Arabs. The Arabs didn't like the fact that Jews were preventing them from stealing Jewish land. The army arrived, the police, civil administration. We showed them all a map that indicated that we were working only on state land. The Arabs were removed from the area for that very moment, but they returned again and again and continued their illegal takeover of Israeli lands. Sadly, we saw that the IDF and the police treated us as if our presence in the area was temporary and that the Arabs were the locals. We succeeded in redeeming dozens of dunams here in Netzel and in other places in the area. But it's only a drop in the ocean of Judea and Samaria. The example of Netzel is a microcosm of what is happening in the macrocosm of all of Judea and Samaria. Throughout Judea and Samaria and in all the area between the Jewish communities, the Arabs, funded by millions of dollars, are taking over our state lands by planting, building houses, excavating quarries. We sat and thought and came to the sad conclusion that Israeli control of Judea and Samaria over the course of 53 years, without the application of sovereignty, resulted in a situation where it is unclear to whom Judea and Samaria belongs. As long as there is no decision by the Israeli government to apply sovereignty over Judea and Samaria, the world will continue to view us as occupiers. In 2011, we established the sovereignty movement and launched a massive campaign of conferences, parliament meetings, journals, political lobbying, media, and the establishment of the sovereignty youth. The application of sovereignty will make it clear to the entire world that our presence here is not temporary, that the Jewish people has returned to its homeland forever. We must also understand that there is a direct connection between the application of sovereignty in Judea and Samaria and what is happening in the rest of the country. Failure to apply sovereignty in Judea and Samaria transmits a message of weakness. The Arabs exploit it, and this is what has led to the loss of the Negev, Galil, the mixed cities, and creates great unrest in Jerusalem. A country that leaves a governing vacuum should not be surprised when it spreads to the entire country. Today, with the current government, the situation is even more severe, with 2/3 of the government left-wing and Arab. However, precisely now, if we want to save not only Judea and Samaria, but all of Israel as the nation-state of the Jewish people, precisely now we must raise the banner of sovereignty even higher. If the right wing doesn't present a program of its own, we will find ourselves returning, God forbid, to the dangerous ideas of the two-state solution or of one state for two nations, which is the latest trend among the progressive. The public must understand that if there is no Jewish sovereignty between the sea and the Jordan, in Elon More, Shiloh, Betel, Hebron, and Gush Etzion, there will be no sovereignty and no governance in Ramle, Lod, Yafe, Beersheba, or Tel Aviv. True, the Abraham Accords and this current government with a left-wing majority and Arabs give the impression that the application of sovereignty is not relevant at the moment. But, like 11 years ago when we started the sovereignty campaign, People thought it was delusional, and together with many others, we succeeded in bringing it to Washington even. Today's sovereignty is needed even more, and thus cannot be dropped from the agenda. We must say loud and clear, the land of Israel belongs to the people of Israel. And please God, together we will act and succeed.